What's up everyone, welcome back to a new video on the Alien Algo channel. Today we'll be going over the markets again per usual. It is a Saturday, so it's the weekend, so expect some chop or continuation, which we had a lower time frame reversal at the upside towards the downside. So we could chop a bit downwards in my opinion, but it most likely will be with not that much volume, I assume. We were talking about this setup that if we clear this, then we could maybe be bullish again. But yeah, the overall bias was bearish till range. And here we see that lower time frame setup that we shared in the previous video. This was right here. We said we wanted to sweep. Right here, that sweep. And we saw the slowing down, and then during the video I took the entry right here. It even retrieved back towards the entry, but the stop was good enough, so it went up. I closed it manually here at that POC. I did not expect it to go towards that value area high, to be honest, but it did in the end, so could have took a little bit more. So my actual trade was this, but it could have been this right here. So could have played it better, but we live and we learn, and not every trade is the same. So that's a little thing right there. What do we have right now? I don't have that much time, and it's a Saturday anyways. And yeah, the markets are closed in terms of stock markets. So I don't expect a lot of volume, but we should be expecting some similar move to New York Open, in my opinion, into a range, but just with lower volume, right? So let's say we get a sweep right here, because we don't know yet if it's going to be upside or downside sweep, right? So let's get the bullish example. Let's say we sweep it, and then we make a impulse. I don't think it will be like a massive reversal. I think it will be like a tiny reversal where we just have a decent upwards move and then we just continue to chop anyways. So if you're not comfortable scalping, I would say just wait out Sunday. Saturday usually is a bit of a shit day to trade, but the Sunday usually gives some nice setups. So for now, let's get back into that higher time frame chart. So yeah, it should be quite clear that we had this previous high right here. Okay, it's that 30-minute chart. Yeah, see it right here. This here, that break, multiple retest, and this is still remaining to be that level. So here we take this one. I'll extend it a bit further actually, because we also should know that this, of course, is that higher time frame level, right? So we made this as a lower time frame resistance around that Fibonacci extension. So we should know this right here, the New York reversal, where we have that New York open and we have that reversal. Right now it's a weekend, so we won't be having that. What we did have, and I keep saying this, it's the same type of play, but around the daily close. So here we had that daily close. Let's get the right candle. Here at the top upper side, right here. This was the daily close. And what do, wait, that's not right. I see the problem. I need to get into the USDT perpetual chart for this. And that daily close. Let's see. In the more traditional way, we go to here, we see that closing price 117.5 exactly. 117.5. Oh, this one. Yep, we got it already. Let me extend this shit to here instead. Yep, right around there, almost there. You guys know by now, I don't prepare these things. It's think in a better way so you guys understand like what exactly am I looking at, why, and at what moment, right? So here we're almost there. No, wait. This should. Yep. Okay, there we go. So what do we see from here, right? We see that daily open. We get up, we sweep liquidity, go down, liquidity point 1, liquidity point 2, right? This is a similar setup as you would use around that New York Open, where you trade a New York Open reversal, right? Or New York reversal, whatever. But the same logic is being made quite often around that daily close. So it could also happen in the opposite side, right? Where we do this instead, compress a little, and then extend, right? This is also a way how it could happen, but you need to know this daily open point, right? If you trade below it initially, you most likely will go down. And that means you want to see a fake first and then see it get below, right? And here we see that compression down. And later, when it takes liquidity, it quite often reverts back to that daily open. And then if it reclaims, of course, we can trade it to the upside. But if it doesn't reclaim and it becomes resistance again, you can trade it to the downside again. This is a little setup that a lot of people can use because it is quite simple. And here again, you see that retest on that daily open, right? Or previous day close, whatever you want to call it. So that's a thing I wanted to point out, but we should know by now then we want to be trading above this, right? But we are still in a range environment where you see this can now be removed actually, because this currently, well, that setup can occur still where we have those head and shoulders pattern, but I don't think it is very likely. I think we will just take liquidity at some point and then start to go back up. But let's point out where that liquidity could be. Where we take this entire move plus the range. And there we get our value area low, value area high of this entire move. We also see the void of volume right here. So a level we really want to see hold is this point. So second point, a bit higher, would be around this. Because otherwise we should trade right into this again, because here is the liquidity void again. So from here, these are a bit of those lower time frame levels. And the thing I pointed out on Twitter, I think it was that inside of this, when we just only identify this point, yeah, you see that this is your value area low, where this also is your high point of value, right? Before you get into a bit of the lower area. So this is that initial point which you would like to see hold. Here we see multiple taps on it already since that previous day. And what could we see here? Logically, a possible reverse. So those points we will be looking at are those value area lows and possibly this point. Right, we see that this is a major point of confluence. So if we really would get something like this, would be the ideal scenario. If we want to be front running everyone, and I think maybe even a setup like this could be logical on that New York Open, where we take these wicks right here, and take this one with it, of course, where we trade into both, and we get right around something like here, and then instead reverse already. This will be like a front run scenario, but we would only want to enter when a logical higher low is made. because this is a bit of an aggressive setup if you would take this, which I do think it can be a good setup if it gets buying pressure right around here. And then that should be inside of here, right, and around the top of this. So let's put a box there right now. I have to look to the side real quick. Yeah, so around here. And that second point, of course, should be right around here. Now, if we hold these, we could get like a second impulse, but if we lose this, I do think that then, if you look just on the higher time frame, we could get some shit like this. So we really would like to hold right around one of these levels, because otherwise we will be trading back into this, in my opinion, where it looks very logical to just retest that previous all-time high, right? So I do think this could be a bit of a setup that where you have the opportunity to trade like these tiny impulses on that way and then just flip your positions later to the downside, where you can compound a bit of those trades. So yeah, I think this will quite literally be it for BTC. It's a Saturday anyways, but yeah, I will be watching these levels and perhaps even play it towards the downside if this doesn't manage to hold. I might just trade it right into this box again. And then we will be looking what it does here, right? It's just reading the flows. If is the level holding? Yes. Okay, we buy or we stay in if we really snipe the bottom, right? Because that's the thing. Either you want to snipe this bottom when it starts to slow down on a lower time frame, or you want to be a little bit on the safer side and enter on the higher lows. Those are like, you have the aggressive and you have the more defensive, right? So that's a bit of a trading impulses towards the downside. The same logic, of course, can be applied for the upside. But yes, these will be those levels in my opinion. And otherwise, if this area does not hold, I expect to pull back into that previous all-time high. So let's get into ETH. It still looks quite strong if we just compare them relatively. BTC actually held up a bit better, but yeah, we've taken out all these wicks on a lower time frame. We look at this on the 1 hour. We had a lot of wicks building here. And this one we barely took out. Did we take it out on perpetual? No. Yeah, actually, on perpetual we did. Yeah. So on that higher time frame chart, we see that it is still inside this range extension. And we were talking about at the 3300 level, it's on the other chart, that currently these still are those levels to be trading in. Right? What do you want to do? Look for strength above, look for weakness below. So yeah, if this doesn't break, I do think it will, but it won't be like immediately, in my opinion. Perhaps on the Sunday again, we know the Sundays have been quite funny the last few days. But yeah, when we look at this on the lower time frame, I don't really see some major strength. We currently are building some sort of base right here, which if this could hold looks quite decent. But yeah, if this loses, I think we will be trading to the downside first. So yeah, for ETH, it's quite clear. I've already mapped this out here in a similar style as to that current range, where now we only take this impulse till the entire range. So this currently is your value area low, which you would like to see hold, but there was a little bit of a liquidity void right here. Well, volume void, I have to say, where we tapped into it, took this wick, and we had a little impulse, but we have not been able to reclaim that value area low, which I deem to be a bit bearish, because if you would have seen like a reversal from this point, you would have liked to see a reclaim of that value area low. So yeah, if we really want to see ETH like holding here or showing real strength compared to BTC, I would like to see it do something like this, right? But until we just don't get above this, there is really not anything to be like bullish about for this Saturday, in my opinion. So yeah, when we look at this, we would like to see this hold, and otherwise we're just trading into this again, right? So on that lower time frame, we want to clear this area. If we don't, we should be bearish on a lower time frame. Yeah, but this could also be a current high to break. But I think we'll need to take some liquidity first. Whether it will be this week or this week, I don't know yet. But I'm looking at the time and I see that I have to go yet again. So with that having said, guys, I hope you liked today's video. Yeah, we'll check this a little as well. See that BTCD currently building some sort of base. So we want to see this forming a lower high, right? Then we can see some relief on alts again. So some shit like this, perhaps, or we could do it from this point already or this point, right? Just look at those previous levels. So for ETH-BTC, it's quite literally inverted. So we've taken out this wick. We could be holding here. Otherwise, we would be looking at this wick again, because this is a really nice wick to be taken out, in my opinion, where we could get a nice impulse again from. So yeah, watch those levels. And with that having said, alien out. Bye.